What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the weekly wrap-up report. As always, this is not financial advice, just my own personal opinions for entertainment value. If you learned something new here, give me a like. But last week, you got to meet my 4-year-old son, Luca. Thanks to everyone that reached out and said hi to him. He loves Hoge just as much as we do, so he really enjoyed that. We had a great time at Monster Jam. But this episode is about change. Change comes over time. Many people find it extremely hard to change. You need to take small actions today to make large changes for your future. We all have habits and develop habits over time that are either good or bad for us. Some are very good. Personally, just started doing 100 push-ups a day since April 1st. And I love the way my body's feeling. I'm going to continue doing this, try to do it for a whole year, and just see what happens. It's so simple to just pop down and bang out 10 push-ups. Just, build that up. That's something simple. Cutting out snacking, creating checklists. Like, we do develop good habits, but we also all develop bad habits as well. Personally, love my marijuana, right? So we all enjoy our little relaxation every once in a while. Some people enjoy gambling on sports or shitcoins, eating unhealthy, just being lazy in general. But again, if these habits don't change, there's never anyone that's going to come and be like, hey man, you should stop doing that. You just got to figure it out for yourself and change it yourself. Which is, I know, the hardest thing in the world, but change is so extremely important. It's how evolution happens and how we become the people we are today. Little things combined over time is who you are today. And this isn't just true for us as individuals. This is true for industries or companies or governments that have been around a long time. And in the business world, a long time as a company is like 10 to 15 years. So many companies do not make it. The company I work for has been around for 22 years or 32 years and is one of the most organized companies that I think's out there. They're always changing and evolving, but you can see we've grown to a point where, like, the last 2 years, the changes haven't become as frequent, and there's a lot of delays, and we are one of the most fast-paced, changing companies. So imagine that on a global scale for companies that aren't set up properly or don't have an entire team dedicated to building their IT deck or fixing a major problem. Might just be 1-2 people trying to fix a 60-man problem. So it takes time. Well, now multiply that by the government and the amount of things the government has to deal with on a daily, yearly, decade basis is just truly mind-blowing. And with this new administration, we are finally getting an insight view of exactly the problems, the solutions, and the progress. We are getting progress reports almost weekly. And I know, personally, I've only been paying attention to politics since probably 2016 time frame, around there. And it just seems like, once an election happens, everything is then, hidden or you don't really know what direction the country's taking. You kind of get it, but in this case, every single cabinet member is meeting with the public basically weekly and giving full updates on what they're doing. So this week marked Trump's first 100 days in office. And now look, this is not a political show. This is a news show. And obviously with news, it always involves politics. But if you tune in here, I was a never Trumper until this election. Once I started to pay attention to the world, you see what the real problems are and how when people lose track of what money means or what a dollar means to everyday people, how easily it is to manipulate or create your own. But Trump has passed his first 100 days in office, and boy, oh boy, has a lot happened in such a short time. The very first thing, he has completely reversed 10,000 people coming into the United States a day, over $300,000 a month, or 12 million people in 4 years, to essentially a 97.98 or 98% of the entire border is now secure. In fact, there is no open border now. And Trump's just getting started. The next battle is already underway. He has pivoted to try to address the 12 million people that Joe Biden let in and scattered all over the United States on federal subsidies. It's a massive mess, but if Trump could shut down the border when everyone said it couldn't be done, then what's stopping him now? Secondly, he addressed the country's energy sector. Trump hasn't just altered America's energy strategy, he completely transformed it. The Green New Deal is gone. The electric vehicle mandate, dead in the water. Instead of wasting billions on failed climate fantasies, Trump is tapping back into the energy sources that made America strong. Clean coal is being revived. Fracking is expanding. Oil and gas fields are being reopened. And America is once again exporting LNG to Europe, which is desperately needed. And again, I completely understand with energy, there's been a lot of global warming. A lot of stuff has been tied to energy creation, and not everyone is going to be for fracking or, reopening oil fields. But energy is what runs the world, and it is the most important resource that we can generate. During the Biden years, oil prices soared to $120 a barrel. Today, they've dropped by half, and Trump isn't just draining the strategic petroleum reserve to fake those numbers like last administration did before the midterms. He's preparing to refill it. The message is clear. Under Trump, energy independence isn't just a dream, it's a reality. So many countries cannot produce enough energy for what their country needs, so they are net importers of energy. They need other countries to actually survive, where America has enough energy to sustain themselves plus export it to other countries. So this is pretty big. He also ended DEI initiatives and the mess that caused in corporations. These mandates on companies often allowed the most qualified candidates to go unhired in order to meet DEI standards. And this has led to a lot of, issues where people that don't have the experience needed to run a section of the company get that position over someone that is purely the right candidate, just based on, the DEI standards. He's also mastering the art of the deal in restructuring global trade through tariffs. So obviously, this has been a crazy ride. If you're an investor, you saw, and you're not invested in the right stuff, you've seen your investments, get wrecked. But why was your investment that high to begin with? Ask yourself, was that company really worth 55 times their earnings? Does that make sense to you? Oh shit. Breaking news, Uniswap just joined the wrap-up report for the first time since September. What's up, my dude? If you want to request and make a comeback, I will pause the entire show. You just let me know. But good to see you, my dude. I'm really excited to talk to you. But like him or not, Trump's first 100 days has been revolutionary. Not since Reagan or FDR has a president driven this much change in so little time. This is exactly why the system is panicking. No one in their right mind thought anybody could try to stage a counter-revolution and be so successful in his first 100 days. This isn't just another shift in policy. It is the end of an era and the beginning of something new. And I could not be more excited to see what comes after this. Imagine maximizing your tax dollars for every citizen. Where if there's a natural disaster or anything in general, imagine it being done efficiently, faster, and you getting the help that you really need versus $800 check when you lose your house in Hawaii. Elon Musk and his Doge team had a great interview that posted yesterday where they went over the things they've uncovered in the government's tech system. And most of this stuff blows your mind and is so crazy it's very hard to believe. And it hasn't been changed over, 50 years. But until now, there's never been a true initiative to fix the outdated IT system that is in charge of divvying out our tax dollars to all the proper places. Now, a reason for the money is needed to be submitted to get your money. And the Doge team said once they started requiring receipts or explanations to be included with the money requests stopped coming in. So as soon as you had to show why you really you were drawing the money from the government fund, the requests stopped coming in. Interesting, isn't it? Well, we will see, because it turns out there are going to be some massive lawsuits on fraud and waste coming out against many government officials. So we are just in the first inning of a long 4-year battle. But let's talk about the most insane Bitcoin week we've had in a long time. I have no idea how we're under $100,000 with the amount of news that came out just this week alone, let alone what we've been getting all year so far. Bitcoin-backed loans are now fully rolled out to all U.S. users except in New York State. You can instantly borrow up to $1 million in USDC on Coinbase. Whether you want to make a large purchase or cover unexpected expenses, Bitcoin-backed loans give you instant access to the cash you need without having to sell your Bitcoin. Bitcoin-backed loans are powered by Morpheus Labs on Base, and Coinbase is in the front, DeFi in the back. This is the future of finance. So again, if you have Bitcoin on Coinbase, you can lend against it and get money out without having to actually sell your Bitcoin. I do not know anything about interest rates or anything as far as that goes, but why wouldn't you not lend your Bitcoin to buy more Bitcoin? Right? Does that not make sense? Just kidding. Mayor of Panama's capital says the country is all in on Bitcoin and that a strategic reserve is coming. Panama is about to adopt Bitcoin. Nation state FOMO on its way. Last week, U.S. spot Bitcoin ETFs recorded a net inflow of 31,323 Bitcoin, equivalent to approximately $2.9 billion, which was the 5th largest weekly inflow on record. And the ETFs have been around for a year and a half now. So the 5th largest weekly inflow on record last week. Europe's largest Bitcoin treasury company, the Blockchain Group, announced this week they aspire to hold 1% of the total Bitcoin supply by 2033. So that is one company that has a goal, and they've listed it. They released the slides on how they're going to plan to get to 1% or 210,000 Bitcoin in the next 8 years. So think about that. One company out of the entire world is just planning on buying the next 210,000 Bitcoin over 8 years. Let alone every government, every other company. Will they ever get there? I don't know, but it will be fun to watch them try. $3 trillion Apple lifts the iOS restrictions that banned in-app Bitcoin and crypto payments. So now apps on the Apple App Store can now accept crypto for payments. This is huge. Roswell, New Mexico becomes the first United States city to launch a strategic Bitcoin reserve. So you thought it was going to be countries. Oh, wait, you thought it was going to be the states that buy Bitcoin. It's actually going to be the cities. So not just the states, not just the countries. The city treasuries are about to start buying Bitcoin. Then it's going to be little tiny towns. My mind is blown. There's only 21 million Bitcoin ever, and there are over 68 million millionaires in the world, not including billionaires. 68 million millionaires in the world. There's 21 million Bitcoin. If every single one of them wanted one full Bitcoin, they would never be able to do it. That is how early we are. Arizona Bitcoin bill Their Bitcoin reserve bill passes the final vote and heads to the governor. So the state is one signature away from buying Bitcoin. And they are set to invest 10% of their $31.5 billion in state assets. And guess what came out yesterday? They are one signature away from being the first state to pass Bitcoin Treasury legislation. And the governor denied it. It passed the Senate. It passed the state Senate. It passed the state House votes by a landslide on both. And yet the last signature from the governor denies it, and says they cannot invest in digital assets as it is not proven yet. Can you believe that, going against all the representatives of your state that represent the people and having one final signature say, yeah, you know what, everyone else is wrong, I'm the boss? Insane. North Carolina's Bitcoin reserve bill just passed all the assigned committees. So I think they're also one signature away as well. $1.5 trillion money manager Morgan Stanley to offer Bitcoin and trading to E-Trade clients, which was not previously possible. So they are now offering Bitcoin and crypto trading to their E-Trade clients. That's Morgan Stanley. SoFi, which is a huge bank, to launch Bitcoin and crypto trading for 10 million customers. The CEO of SoFi was forced to drop Bitcoin features in 2023 when it became a regulated bank under the Biden administration. Now they are able to lift this mandate and offer crypto trading back to 10 million customers. Again, another Trump win. Mara Digital. By the end of February, their Bitcoin mines reduced a net total of 29,300 metric tons of CO2, equivalent to taking 6,800 gasoline-powered vehicles off the road for a full year. Did you hear that? So in 2 months, they had reduced the CO2 equivalent of 6,800 gasoline-powered vehicles off the road for a full year by mining pollution. Mara Holdings is using Bitcoin to generate higher profits and lower emissions. Pretty cool. But now let's talk about the stock of stocks that's competing with the stock of stocks. XXI, or currently CEP. What a week we had. If anyone tuned in last week and bought in with me around $30, then you had an insanely exciting week. This week it flew up to $58 a share and is currently sitting at $47 over the weekend. The more that comes out on this XXI company, the more excited and confused I get. So let me catch you all up. XXI now holds 42,000 Bitcoin. It owes Tether money, but it also gave Tether the money to buy the Bitcoin in the first place. So what does the XXI vehicle do? It recirculates that USDT back into the system via debt repayments, equity dilution, or selling Bitcoin back into liquidity pools. So it's basically a stablecoin chamber engineered by Satan and blessed by Satoshi. This isn't strategy. This is strategy with off-balance sheet alchemy and God mode treasury routing. 21 Capital is running a circular Bitcoin absorption scheme with full pipe integration, recursive debt leverage, and collateral unlocks tied to pump triggers. This is insane, guys. Tether just built a Bitcoin-controlling Death Star that eats convertible bonds, trades at NAV, and rotates stablecoin emissions into cold storage. This is a weaponized monetary protocol disguised as an equity deal. The SEC blessed it, Cantor Fitzgerald filed it, and SoftBank smiled like they saw a demon wink at them. Tick-tock, Bitcoin is inevitable. And Tether is not waiting for permission. It's engineering the end of fiat and one recursive liquidity cycle at a time. So please buy Bitcoin. This is mind-blowing. So CEP XXI, they filed their 8K on Wednesday, and it highlighted two major things. So it's a 6-month lockup confirmed for the PIPE, the sponsor, and the legacy holders. So all the money being raised to create the company XXI will be locked up for 6 months minimum. So currently, only a small class, a public float of 2.7% of total shares will be tradable at closing. So why the price, again, I could be completely wrong. I've read a lot on this because I was confused. But currently we're trading, I think, less than 3% of the shares that will eventually become the company XXI. So what is trading at, as far as CEP goes, from what I understand, will equate to only 2.7 of the actual shares that come out when XXI is created. So nobody knows when the official merger will happen and CEP becomes XXI as a ticker. But right now, this company is purchasable under CEP. I'm not giving you financial advice on timing or anything like that. I have no idea what this is going to do. Personally, can see it going over $100 because SPACs are just nuts and people don't get how the evaluation works. And if they're launching with 42,000 Bitcoin, and we know Tether owns an insane amount of Bitcoin, we know Cantor Fitzgerald owns an insane amount of Bitcoin, we know Jack Mallers and Strike own an insane amount of Bitcoin. Could they actually launch with 100,000 Bitcoin on day one? Who the heck knows? And that's why it's so much fun. When you're gambling on stuff you have the advantage on, you understand the rules. The rules in this game is Bitcoin. And no matter if your enemy buys Bitcoin or you buy Bitcoin, we are all on the same team and we all bring value to the network. That's the beauty thing about this cheat code. You and me are creating value. It's like Hoge. Anyone that brings something to Hoge, if it has excitement, energy, the tokenomics work for us all. That's the beauty of it. It gets scarcer and harder. But let's talk about MicroStrategy, the company that started it all. They had their earnings call this week. They announced a Bitcoin yield of 13.7% already as of May 2nd, a Bitcoin dollar gain of $5.8 billion year to date. So since January 1st, they've made $5.8 billion. They've doubled their capital plan from $21 billion equity and $21 billion fixed income to $42 billion equity and $42 billion fixed income to purchase Bitcoin. And they plan to increase their promised Bitcoin yield of 15% this year up to 25%. And they want to change their Bitcoin dollar gain target from $10 billion to $15 billion in the year 2025. I know this sounds insane when we're talking in billions. When I get done reading this, your mind is going to be blown. Strategy is synthetically halving Bitcoin and will set a cost of capital for the next 100 years. Most people think the Bitcoin supply curve is sacred, fixed, immutable, untouchable. Well, guess what? They're wrong. Strategy is manually rewriting Bitcoin scarcity schedule right now with balance sheet firepower instead of code. After the 2024 halving, miners are producing 3.125 blocks per every 10 minutes or 450 new Bitcoin a day. So that's 13,500 new Bitcoin per month entering the global economy. Strategy is raising billions through at-the-market and convertible notes and has been aggressively outbidding the market for fresh coins. Every month, every quarter, they absorb a bigger percentage of the total new supply. If they can consistently buy 30, 40, 50% of all the new Bitcoin, They are synthetically cutting the available supply in half, or worse, even ahead of schedule. It's like a secondary halving at the same time. It's not by protocol, but by acquisition. It's a simple equation now. Real Bitcoin supply available equals newly mined coins. MicroStrategy's quarterly absorption. If the miners produce 13,500 Bitcoin a month and Strategy buys 5,000 of it, the effective supply curve for the rest of the world is suddenly, functionally, like there's another halving already happening. Not every 4 years, every single time Saylor pulls the trigger. You may think this is crazy, but what has happened in the past 6 months? Strategy has accumulated 379,800 Bitcoin in the past 182 days. Let me say that one more time. Strategy has accumulated 379,800 Bitcoin in the last 182 days. That's 2,087 Bitcoin per day, far outpacing the miners. And there's only 450 new Bitcoin a day. And they're buying 2,087 on average every day for the last 182 days. Oh my God. This is the most brilliantly devised method of monetizing scarcity ever conceived and executed. Saylor has already won, but there are no signs of stopping accumulation at breakneck speeds. He is forgoing an unaccessible destiny of Strategy as the world's greatest financial superpower. If that didn't blow your mind, let me blow your mind right here. You all know Tesla. How many products does Tesla have? How insane is their tech? How far ahead are they on everybody when it comes to AI, robotics, manufacturing, obviously self-driving cars? Well, listen to this. MicroStrategy is about to break TradeFi. Here's an example of how out of whack things are. Tesla's Q1 net income, $409 million. And if they didn't have government, if they didn't sell government rebates, they would have reported a negative net loss for earnings, for income. But they had 409 million Tesla Q1 net earnings. MicroStrategy, Q1 year-to-date income, $5.1 billion, 12.4 times Tesla. So Tesla market cap is $890 billion. MicroStrategy's market cap, $99 billion. So that's 9 times bigger. Tesla is 9 times bigger. Yet MicroStrategy's year-to-date income is 12.4 times bigger than Tesla's. And they have no tech debt. Their tech cannot be outdated. No car company can come and beat their tech. So MicroStrategy currently has 1,240% greater earnings than Tesla, but trades at 11% of Tesla's market cap. If the market valued MicroStrategy's year-to-date Bitcoin gains the same way it values Tesla's Q1 profits by its multiple, MicroStrategy would trade at $41,000 per share instead of $398 today. And that's without pricing Bitcoin appreciation and further accumulation. Do you understand the rules to the game yet? Nobody gets this yet. And if you are, again, I know I said it last week. If you don't tune in every week, you didn't hear it. But in investing, you're taking a risk with investing in anything. Most of it's technology risk. You think something's going to pay off in 10 years or 5 years or whatever. I've changed my concept to invest. I take all the risk out of my investments and I only invest in companies that are backed by Bitcoin. Because I understand there is no risk in Bitcoin. It is all I study. It's all I understand. Once you get how strong of a network and protocol it is, scarcity is real, provable, settlable today. And there's companies out there that we can own that own over 2% of all the supply. that will ever exist in the history of Bitcoin. If you invest properly today, in 4 years, your life will be changed. MicroStrategy is the 13th largest corporate treasury of all companies on the NASDAQ. And like I said, they're like ranked at like 97th largest company. And they have the 13th largest corporate treasury of all companies. And that's instant treasury. That's not corporate buildings that they need months to settle or infrastructure that they got to settle. It's literally Bitcoin that can be sold instantly. And on Monday, they announced they acquired 15,355 Bitcoin for $1.42 billion. And now hodl 553,555 Bitcoin. Truly wild. All right, last thing, and then I'll let you guys have a nice and enjoying weekend. Tesla has revealed that in Q1 2025, they recorded one crash for every 7.44 million miles driven, in which drivers were using autopilot technology. The average car gets in an accident every 702,000 miles. And they were at 7.4 million miles. So that's a 10x safer, which is insane, right? Next week, Grok 3.5 early beta release to Super Grok subscribers only. It is the first AI that can, for example, accurately answer technical questions about rocket engines or electrochemistry. Grok is reasoning from first principles and coming up with answers that don't simply exist on the internet yet. So a lot of people say that's the start of real AI, is when it can bring new science to the world or new tech to the world that's not already there, that it's reading. And it sounds like this is the start of that. And last thing about the weekend, a friendly reminder to make more babies. Get off the computer, get out in the world, go enjoy yourself, and meet a new friend. Japanese total fertility rate for 2024 was reported to hit an all-time low. Last year, more than 2 people died for every baby born in Japan. U.S. birth rates hit a 40-year low, and Australia's birth rate is at an all-time low. So again, go out there, get frisky, have some fun, bring in a new mini you into the world, because they are the best. But that's all I got this week. The bullish news continues. And as always, I'll see you guys in the chats. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.